Welcome back to Digital Media Insiders. I'm Laura Beamer. We're sitting here with special guest Jennifer Phillips. So you're also a producer. How did you go from post-production into production?
It started out of an outgrowth of a series where I was becoming more and more involved, and it was actually my choice. I'd asked the executive producer if he could have somebody take me under wing and begin teaching me the numbers part of production. I understood the people part, that I had down, and I understood the process, obviously, but it was more about how the numbers work, how the scheduling works in production itself, and so they started to do that. And then
By numbers, do you mean
the budgeting.
The budgeting.
The budgeting, yeah. And the union rules and all of that that you need to learn when you're producing and production managing. And so he allowed for that to happen and gave me some great guardian angels to teach me. And we were shooting far away from Los Angeles where the executive producers lived. And so one of the executive producers that was with us took me under wing, and I became his right hand for the creative. And so I was really fortunate to be learning the numbers in the production management process, to be able to be standing behind the ADs and just absorbing like a sponge everything they had to say, running post-production, and at the same time creatively getting an opportunity to stretch my creative wings. And it was an unbelievable opportunity. And I kid you not, I felt like a sponge. Every day I woke up feeling so fortunate to be in that situation and just wanting to absorb every bit of knowledge I could. And so when an opportunity came up for a documentary, I was supposed to come on for post-production, and the producer asked me to come on to line produce and potentially do his post as well.
What is line producing?
Line producing is really more of the numbers and scheduling. It's the nuts and bolts as opposed to the creative part. And he was a director producer, and it was his creative vision, and he was wanting to be that point person, which is totally cool. It was his story, so he needed to be that point person. And so it was more the nuts and bolts, you know, the being there before the crew arrived in the morning, the sitting with the ADs and looking at schedules, the changing schedules if we were falling behind or if we were ahead, all of that sort of thing.
And I'm guessing because of your post-production background, you were able to just hammer out all the problems that you could already see might be an issue.
You do your best. You certainly do your best. You can't avoid the train that goes by or the truck that beeps at the corner, you know, and it bleeds through the walls. But yeah, you do your best to hammer out, or at least have in your mind how it's going to be solved when you get to post.
And how long have you been producing now?
I've really only produced a few projects. So not long enough. Hopefully there'll be more down the road, but you know, sort of production and post take you where it takes you. I allow myself to be open to whatever opportunities are there.
And so in addition to general producing and line producing, you also are a production manager.
I have production managed as well.
Now, what's that?
Production managing is also the daily nuts and bolts, but you're working for the producer. So the producers give you your budget, and you're running that on a day-to-day basis, generating cost reports at the end of the day. How much should we spend today? Are we on budget? Do we make our day? You're doing all of that sort of reporting with the ADs. And that's pretty fun. I mean, that really can be very fun. It's also, and at times, the most grueling of all the jobs, because you're there from the first person arriving to the last person leaving. If you're me, you're there from the time before the first person arrives to the last person who leaves.
And how do you think you'll go ahead in your career from now on? Will you continue to do producing or post-production?
Right now I really miss post. I've been away from it for a while, and I really, really miss it. I especially enjoy being on that bleeding edge, out there on the 4K, bleeding edge of things, all the new technology. I find it exciting and challenging, and as much as I wasn't a math major, I love the math and the algorithms and file management and all that crazy stuff, along with the creative process.
Is it fun for you to watch old movies and see how much post-production has changed until today?
I really like the movies from the 40s because what I think about is how much they did with so little. They had so little to work with, and they did so much with so little. I also think that, you know, we sample so much music today, and drums and violins, as opposed to hiring full orchestras. And sometimes you can really tell that they had a full orchestra in that studio for that music.
Wow, cool. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you again soon, hopefully.